In this tutorial, we will talk about completing the square. To complete the square, we're going to create a square binomial. So we start off with putting the a term in the top box. We have x squared. And then we split the b term in half because we want a perfect square, so these two diagonals should be exactly the same. And then we take what was the c term, plus 15, and we're going to set that outside of the box, because that's not a perfect square. Then what we need to do is fill in what would be a perfect square. So if we have x minus 4 and x minus 4 is our perfect square, then negative 4 times negative 4 is a positive 16. Because this 16 wasn't there before, we added it to make it perfect. We also have to subtract 16 because 16 minus 16 is 0, and then it wouldn't change the original. So in this case we have x minus 4 times x minus 4, and then 15 minus 16 is negative 1. So we would actually write it as a perfect square. So x minus 4 squared, and then minus 1. That's completing the square. So let's look at letter B. The a term, go in the top left box, x squared, and then we're going to split 12x into 6x and 6x. So then our factors would be x plus 6, x plus 6, and our c term we put outside of the box, minus 4. And then we're going to see, okay, 6 times 6 is 36, so we're going to add 36 here. In order not to change the value of the expression, I also have to subtract 36, so they cancel each other out. So we end up with x minus 6, or x plus 6, times x plus 6, and negative 4 and negative 36 make negative 40. And then we would write that as a perfect square, so x plus 6 squared minus 40. Letter C, we're going to start again with the a term, which is x squared. We're going to split negative 20x into 2, so negative 10x, negative 10x. And we're going to put the minus 17 at the end because that is not a perfect square. And we would end up with x minus 10 and x minus 10. Negative 10 times negative 10 is a positive 100. Since we added 100 here, we have to subtract 100 here. And we would have x minus 10 times x minus 10. Negative 17 minus 100 is negative 117. And then write that as a perfect square. And that is completing the square. Letter D. I'm going to start off again. We have x squared. We split 16 in 2, so that's plus 8x plus 8x. And then 43 is plus 43. This is x plus 8 and x plus 8. And 8 times 8 is a positive 64. Since we added 64 there, we need to subtract 64 here. And the reason for that is 64 doesn't exist over here in the original. So if we add 64 and subtract 64, these cancel and we get back to the original. So we add 64 and subtract 64 so that we don't affect the actual expression. So now we write x plus 8 times x plus 8, and then 43 minus 64 is a negative 21. So if you want to, you can jump right to this, which is x plus 8 squared. That's our goal. And then minus 21.